When people say Fibonacci extensions, they're usually talking about the Fibonacci levels after the 0 to 1 range of the Fibonacci retracement. The trend-based Fibonacci extension tool is a slightly different story, so we can talk about that in a separate video. As for how to draw Fibonacci extensions, we just take the Fibonacci retracement tool and mark a defined range after price starts leaving it. In this case, a long-term uptrend starts moving above this range that we placed the Fibonacci retracement on. So we don't care about the retracement levels as price exits their range that's defined from the 0 to 1 levels. Now what's relevant is the extension range, all those levels after the 1 level. And since the 0 to 1 range of the Fib retracement range was so wide, we can also check those boxes to include the 1.2, 7.2, and 1.4 extension levels. So we get some coverage of that big gap between 1 and 1.618. And that's how to draw Fibonacci extension levels using the Fibonacci retracement tool. The result is marking resistance as price climbs to new highs. Very useful when price is moving up to literal uncharted territory and there are no prior downswings at these new high ranges to reference. Given the context of the prior large uptrend and the broader background of fundamentals of the chart being NVIDIA stock, which is leading the world's AI push, price does get resisted but isn't significantly pushed down. So what ends up happening is there is resistance at these extension ranges, but it's more of a delay and consolidation as buyers step in again for another green surge. It's even enough to drive past the 1.618 level. That is indeed a common level that is contacted, but it's not a guarantee of a reversal, especially given the broader background we just discussed and the recent bullish spike. That's also why you don't need to emphasize or place importance on certain fib levels, whether they be in the retracement range, such as 0.236 or 0.618, or extension levels like the famed 1.618. Not labeling them on the chart also makes for less clutter. And besides, color coding like this is convenient and looks cool, right? Okay, artistic preferences aside, just like any other levels or ranges marked by Fibonacci retracements or other methods, price falling back down can see prior resistance reverse rolls to become relevant support. This is a tenuous time, but the range does indeed hold. Then as price pushes higher to surpass 1.618 and the 200 barrier, we see the same phenomenon again, with resistance reversing rolls to become current support around the 200 price level and the 1.618 extension level. See, and there's a big gap up here between 1.618 and the default next Fibonacci extension level of 2.618. So like before, such a big gap can warrant ticking those boxes to add those less commonly used levels in between. It's basically like before, except instead of having 1 at the start, we have 2, 2.72, and 2.414. It's the range that actually marks the recent peak. How nice. In this next example, price is trying to recover at new lows after a huge fall. There was actually a decent uptrend, similar to the structure of the prior NVIDIA stock example. Except in this case, price peaks and crashes back down to previous historic lows. We can use a regular Fibonacci retracement, but the wide price range means it doesn't get detailed coverage of all levels of significance and interest as price does hold at historic low ranges and starts producing a double bottom reversal. It's still a similar situation if we draw a retracement range based on the recent downtrend. So we can use the double bottom range, which is also a gap down range. It will be the range to place the fib retracement on. And oh look, the extension levels above this range provide excellent reference for resistance alongside the retracement levels of the larger fib retracement. This bullish double bottom reversal is severely delayed because of the resistance from the gap being filled. Then we also see that the downswings at resistance up here don't form exactly on the fib levels, which is quite understandable given they are larger and more volatile. Then just like on the NVIDIA chart, previous resistance now reverses rolls to be crucial support after the uptrend advances and retraces back down. Now go to the settings again, and you see it's back at default. If we tick those other levels off, like before, it's not that useful this time, and might even be too much information, because the double bottom range these fib levels are based on is narrower. So unlike earlier examples, this is a great demonstration of why a smaller range used for a fib retracement doesn't always require ticking off all those levels ending in 0.0, 0.272, and 0.414. Another thing with this chart compared to the NVIDIA example is that this isn't at uncharted territory. Price has been in these ranges many times before, so we could just draw simple support and resistance lines too from those past swing points. But those were much further back. So you could choose to do that and/or use the fib extension levels like we did here. Another common use case for drawing Fibonacci extension levels is when a chart is new. For example, when a new crypto just hits the market, or in this case, a new stock makes its IPO debut. In such cases, the all-time high and all-time low are formed relatively quickly with such little price history. Prices from the first candle on IPO day can also be used as the historic high or low point. In this case, the low from that first day is used like an upswing point, and we draw up to the highest price to form a fib retracement range and have levels going lower as price starts dipping under the IPO low. See, as usual, the famous 1.618 level is contacted, but again, don't hold it on a pedestal because it can still be breached like in a strong downtrend here. Also, the period after an IPO is usually volatile for quite some time too, so it will be rare for it or any other extension level alone to have candles form exact swing points off it. Speaking of volatility and wider price moves, that's a good reminder to turn on those other extension levels for greater detail. And even with those options, you see the current support at record lows doesn't exactly run through extension levels. It just goes to show how Fibonacci extension levels aren't always a silver bullet to seek out support, especially, like we said, in a more unstable situation like this, when price is generally even more volatile after an IPO with price rushing to new lows. And this less reliable environment is also seen with other things like Fibonacci time zone lines and indicators too like Bollinger Bands, which need some time to even start appearing on the chart because of the requirement for at least 20 trading days to form its center line. Using methods based on diagonal lines, aka trend lines, like the Fibonacci channel tool, is among the better options in this kind of scenario for another layer of confluence. But even then, it's not perfect. And that's exactly why you watch these videos, right? You don't want to see perfect, hand-picked theoretical examples. You want to see how technical analysis is in real-world conditions with successful and not so successful examples. Also, in case you were curious, yes, there are and will be more videos on the other things shown here, like the Fib channel, time zone, and Bollinger Bands. So stay tuned for that.